edition of Ain't That Right? I'm your host, the Duncan Dad. We are here live on the Coastal Sports Digital Network, SR1029thegame.com. Coastal Sports Digital Network.com. Be sure to follow everyone. Check us out. Like, subscribe, tweet, message, Instagram, reel. Do whatever you want to do. Come on in, engage. We're here for you. Be there for us. Help each other grow. It's always a great time of the year, getting into the nice fall season full on. And as we like to say in the sports world, many pundits, many commentators will say this is the sports equinox, right? Basketball starting, NHL's here, baseball playoffs, NFL, everything is coming together. LeBron is still nursing his bottom, so we're going to give him a little more time to get together. I know I went out and made a great free agent move this offseason, and again, he hasn't really even practiced with Luka or LeBron at this time. So anyway, yeah, welcome to the NBA season. Welcome to the NHL season. Those guys lacing up the skates, putting on the sweater. Shout out to the Rangers for celebrating their 100th year of existence. And some really bad beepity beep sweaters, man. I was talking the other day with a great producer friend, and I'm not a big jersey guy. I think you're on one side or the other with jerseys. It's either you have your jersey for your team for a particular sport, and you kind of just you lock yourself into it, and that's it. You don't really go outside your box, or you're the guy, girl, individual who just amasses jerseys, amasses sweaters. Funny little Instagram guy a couple years ago, I know he made the rounds. He was showing up every day to class with a different NBA jersey on. I mean, shout out to him. Shout out to the guy. It's expensive as hell nowadays. I know back when I first started getting my first jersey, I don't know if it was like a Carlton jersey or like a Westbrook or a Dawkins jersey, just for those specific seasons and runs. It's not worn all the time. I don't sit down and, put on the Phillies postseason game and I got to break out my powder blues. I don't do that. If I go to a game and it's something where I want to layer and looks comfortable, yeah, okay, yeah. But I know some people are just vehemently like on board with that stuff, and that's their thing. Hey, guess what? Cool on you, enjoy it. Rep. There always has to be somebody there who does it. But yeah, shout out to the Rangers. I know it's kind of counterintuitive from a Philly guy, but their sweater looks really cool. 100 years. Shout out to them. Yesterday afternoon, we had some series get extended. We had some series end. Going back to Seattle, rubber match, game 5. You have the Cubs and the Brewers going to game 4. Cubs pull one out at Wrigley. Phillies go out to LA and they explode. Schwarbaum 2 times. First one was just absolutely demolished. And 455, 117, 119 off the bat, whatever it is. Sometimes like you hear all those stats, you hear all the analytics, you hear all the launch angle and speeds, and you're just like, can I just enjoy the fact that this dude just literally destroyed a baseball? Like he just literally destroyed a baseball. Nice, majestic shot. You don't really need to over hype it. You don't need to over color analyst it. Just it was crushed. A lot of times we get in our own way because we have to put all the potpourri and all the icing, and all the sprinkles and all the jimmies, as I like to say on the East Coast, onto everything just to make it feel better, right? But what I really wanted to get into today, specifically because you have elimination games, right? One's a series clincher. Shout out to the Blue Jays for doing their business the other day. People sort of knew from the beginning, just sidetracking them for a second, that they were head and toes above the Yankees, which New York, it's a lot of buildup. It's a big market. Judge had his one moment, but wasn't enough. The Blue Jays were just locked in. They're primed. They were ready to go. Kudos to them. The 3 elimination games. So Cubs are home. They get some energy. Not bad. Seattle can't get the job done in Detroit. We go back to Seattle, and now Detroit gets to roll out Tariq. Scooble's coming up. I mean, like that's daunting if I'm the Seattle Mariners. I was telling my friend, I said I'd much rather be in a position where the Cubs are facing elimination, and ipso facto last night, even with the Phillies, facing elimination than I would be as Seattle. I mean, this guy is cream of the crop when it comes to American League pitching. Phillies go Sanchez versus Glasnow tonight. Glasnow was really good at one point in his career. I know he was like the ace on the Rays staff for a little while. Made his little run, I think, in San Diego. Now he's up in LA. What I always worry about, and we'll talk about the Eagles too, because they'll be playing this evening in the Meadowlands. Some people coming back from injuries. The Meadowlands is notorious for having the worst turf, field, whatnot in the league. We talked about this ad nauseum on the Upper Bowl podcast with Trevor Harris and Jake Riepma. You can check that out across all the other platforms. It's at the Upper Bowl podcast. It's just, it won't change. It's New York. There's too many things going on, but you do have a little bit of trepidation, a little bit of hesitation when it comes to getting out there on the field. Like, oh, here we go. Just got over an injury. Now we're going to back out there. Let's hope everyone stays healthy. It's a crisp, cool day. There doesn't seem to be any kind of precipitation coming in, but it's our first, I'd say, like really, really fall day up here. I think we woke up to like just above 50, right around 50 degrees. A nice, cool, crisp chill in the air. So good football weather, good evening. Jam-packed here in the Delaware Valley. But having the Cubs and having the Phillies specifically, those two teams, win yesterday, like it sparked something in my head, because people like to go crazy off sometimes about things. And what I mean is, we have this sense of, how do I say it? Like a false hope versus reality. And I wanted to get into that as like it applies to us. Like false hope is like this is belief, right? That positive outcomes, like everything's going to happen, it's going to work out, even though it's unlikely, even though it's impossible. Reality obviously is the fact that things are what they are, even when it's super difficult. Like it is what it is, right? The tension between the two, a lot of times it shows like our emotional fandom and our passion and our conviction and the need for like soothing ourselves as opposed to like facing the truth. Like the truth of the matter is that, the Phillies haven't looked all that well in the playoffs. The Cubs haven't looked all that well in the playoffs. They've put themselves in a position not to be eliminated. But to do that back to back, is the potential there? Yeah, absolutely, the potential's there. But are you drinking the Kool-Aid of this false hope, or do I look at it with a realistic mindset and really take inventory? Right? And we do it for ourselves all the time. Like we have relationships, we're in businesses, we're in business ventures, we have certain organizations that we work with, we have particular beliefs, we have particular faith systems, we have particular devotions and disciplines. And sometimes we have this assumption that, well, if I do everything right and everything is okay and I stay in this particular lane, then it's going to magically fix itself, or things are magically going to get better. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but there's a lot of moving and working parts, right? So like having a false hope, having this idea that my desired outcome is going to take place, even though there's overwhelming evidence to the contrary, right? I'm going to go to Atlantic City, I'm going to go to Vegas on vacation, and I'm going to play blackjack, and I'm going to play the roulette, and I'm going to, bet my life savings, and I'm going to win. That's a great aspiration. The reality is, I haven't played a lick of those games in my life. It's a complete game of chance. Yes, there's some mathematical probabilities and equations that rule it and run it, but the average individual isn't going to go there and beat the house. The house always wins. Right? Some of these false hopes, an example, right, are sports teams overcoming insurmountable odds. Does it happen? Of course it does. It's the Murphy button. Right? There's always instances where things improve or things get better. Right? Where it's like being in this really bad business arrangement or really bad, like, toxic relationship, and then you think, like, instantaneously it's just going to change because one day people are going to wake up and be like, oh, we're better. Oh, I'm fine. I'm going to instantaneously get back in shape, and I'm instantaneously going to lose weight because Just going to not pay attention to it. And it'll just get better. The food will get healthier than I'm eating. My activity level will automatically increase. Like, there takes a little bit of involvement in motion, right? And we've talked on this program about how, like, when you want to do something like that, no matter what it is, retraining yourself, benefiting yourself in mind, body, soul, benefiting relationships, your emotional state, your mental state, like, there's an active role that takes place, but you can't operate under this guise of false hope, right? You get this idea of, like, I've got this great expectation, it's right there, and then it's not met, and you just get, like, overly disappointed. Like, I'm gonna be in my bed, I'm gonna bed rot. I can't face the world. I can't believe this happened. Oh my gosh, it's so awful. I couldn't see that coming. A lot of times when we tell ourselves we can't see something coming, we didn't see. You did. You were just preparing yourself for that inevitable failure, that you have understood to yourself that this is on the precipice of being the reality. And I've taken everything into consideration. I've done everything within my power and within my resources in order to affect that change in the opposite way. But at some point, the action needs to be incurred by the other participating party, no matter what it is. Or you will continue to drum around like the little hamster on a circle. Oh, it's going to change. It's going to change. It's going to be better. I'm going to come in one day and the wheel's not going to be here and the tube's going to lead out into the wide open field. No. Like, people with this false sense of hope sometimes will make poor decisions that delay these necessary actions. And they ignore, like, the most factual and critical and essential information. Oh, it's okay that someone's fallen off the wagon and, we're getting them help and blah, 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 but yet we're going to do X, Y, Z. We're going to continue to put people in this situation. I'm going to continue to enable this. It's the hardest part because we need to disassociate. We need to remove ourselves, and we feel as if we made an investment in individual people, places, things, ourselves, and we are letting our own expectations down. We're letting our own hopes down, right? Then you start to self-criticize, and then you're breaking yourself apart. And how did this happen? It gets to spiral, right? False hope, right? It's like this shortcut that pops up sometimes, and it works every now and then. And that's like that's the nuance and the paradox of life, right? Because every now and then somebody hits that shot. Every now and then a team comes back. Every now and then someone who's not supposed to win wins. Every now and then the scales tip a certain way. And we love that. We as individuals love that. Why? Because it's the epitome, it's the embodiment of the improbable, the impossible, the underdog. However, those moments, those instances in our life usually coincide with a lot of preparation, a lot of work, a lot of activity, a lot of action, right? It's not a miracle. Is there a component of that? Sure. Like, people say, like, well, believing that you can cure a terminal illness with a miracle, that's false hope. No, that's faith. And there's a difference between having faith and that being a component of who you are in your life and what you believe in, your practice, your principles, and your disciplines, coincided with maybe the really real techniques or education or treatment plans or some kind of scientific backing. Like, we want to so many times not consider all of our options because it's easier for us to understand and easier for us to believe in something like that. That's fine. And I think that's wonderful. I think it's awesome. And as someone who has been on all the sides of faith, I think it's super important that you have something that you believe in. Anything that you believe in. I'm not here to preach anything like that, but I will be the first one to sit there and say that no matter how you define it, describe it, live it, love it, learn it, want it, there's a greater fill in the word that moves the needle, so to say. Right? There is. People call it karma. People call it energy, call it chi, call it, the faith, call it good works, call it grace. I'm not here to define that for you. I'm here to say that things always work better hand in hand when there's good on the other side of it. Might not happen instantaneously, but a good endeavor is better than no endeavor at all. Having a false sense of the reality, it leads us to put up these walls, these defenses, and we blind ourselves from the very real nature sometimes, and the very real diagnoses, and the very real finality that we all face. We all face finality in different ways. Finality to job, finality in relationship, finality with life, finality with just different plots along the way. And some of us shut it out. Nah, I don't care. Nah, forget it. Move on. Next. Some people bury themselves literally in those thoughts and those feelings, and it becomes debilitating. Other individuals try to find a balanced approach, like something has run its course. This doesn't remove the human element from it, doesn't remove the emotion from it, doesn't remove the, oh my God, I just spent the last 25 years with someone and now this is done. It doesn't remove any of that. That's not what it's removing. But what it does is it momentarily masks the tangible reality that you're living in. And it's okay. Right? You're able to have hope. You're able to have dreams. You're able to have this wonder and this excitement and this, I'm going to live out this particular thing now because maybe I didn't do it then, or I want to try this decision, or whatever it is. But a healthy, balanced approach, knowing the reality. Like I said, I would love to go out and join all of the, men's sports leagues, blah, blah, blah. I just know my body can't do it. I know my body can't do it. That doesn't take away the hope. It doesn't take away the dream. It doesn't take away the wantonness of it. It doesn't take away the pull on the heartstrings of, like, yeah, it gets really, emotional when you see something really cool happen in sports. Oh yeah, I like to be part of that. It's cool. Yeah. In reality, though, that's where I've learned, and we all learn, to accept where we're at, and that's fine. But not facing that and becoming disillusioned can lead to a cornucopia, shout out to fall, of problems. We put up these barriers, we disassociate, we have this disillusionment, and because we don't give it the reality and the attention, the state of things actually as they are, actually as they exist, based on true evidence and facts, we hurt ourselves. Right? Well, what do you mean? How do you mean I hurt myself? Well, I see this particular place, person, thing, organization, relationship has a problem. I've tried to address it, but it's just being avoided. So I'm going to avoid it now too, because it's going to get better. And it's going to be okay. And I'm making, in a very counterintuitive way, an informed choice, an informed decision, accepting this reality the way that it is without planning to actually make change, right? And to get to that point where you're actually planning and making the change, you're going to ruffle some feathers. You're going to piss some people off. You're going to be the person who's like, oh, you're better than me? Yeah, I'm better than you. Why? Because I want to be better for myself. And you should want me to be better for myself. And you should be doing something that makes you better for yourself and me better for myself and us better as a unit, as an organization, as a job, as a team. Yeah, like you should. That's what we're going for here. But when you're grounded in this reality and you are honest, you do make more of an informed choice in a good way, not to ignore. You get better planning, you get better decision making. Facing those hard truths sometimes. Not that you have to be hard, not you have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and, don't cry, boy. But those things, they build strength in you and they build adaptability. There's a circle of life, there's a circle of relationships, there's a circle of jobs, there's a circle of opportunity that you will step in and out of through your entire life. And you're thinking, oh my God, it's so overwhelming, this person's gonna, oh my God, celebrate the good, identify the not so good, work through it, value it. If it's not valued and it can't be worked through, then it's not for you. And don't fool yourself into thinking that, well, I need it. Right? You shouldn't need it. And you shouldn't want it. Right? There's that longing for this extreme of like, I need to have this. And I want. It'll be a moment of acceptance and celebration and wonder. He's part of the team. He's our best XYZ. This is a fruitful and giving relationship. Why? Because there's authenticity in it. Our goals, they're being worked on together. It's genuine, it's transformative, it is worthwhile. When you face this reality, as opposed to this false sense of hope, there's like a natural, there's a yin and yang, right? There's natural tension that exists, right? There's a push and there's a pull. Hope is very reassuring. Sometimes it's even necessary. Like, oh my gosh, how are we gonna get through this? Well, I hope we're gonna. All right. I need some. You need the emotional component to carry you through the reality sometimes, because sometimes the reality is so overwhelming that without the hope, you would put up all the walls, lock yourself in your room, never engage, never do anything good for yourself. So you do need a component of hope, right? Hope is very reassuring, it's very therapeutic. It is something that can ground us and encourage us, along with the notion that it will require effort, good and bad, cutting off, change, growing, and subtracting. But when hope goes beyond its necessary function, you start to get detached from reality. Right? You got those pie in the sky dreams. You've got those rose-colored glasses. You need a component of that. This isn't Squash Hope Kill Dreams Day. It goes too far, it turns into false hope. Right? There's a little bit of wisdom with take everything with a grain of salt. Be able to pick out the disingenuine and the genuine compliments and the moments. Real hope, as it grounds us, affects our psychological balance. It really does. We keep things in perspective, right? The false hope that it morphs into is like, yeah, don't worry, it's going to get done. I'm going to make all these promises. Oh, it's great. Don't worry. A lot of upfront with no action. What happens, though, is that you put yourself and you put others into these positions where that sounds great and it's going to change and things are going to go for the better. And when it doesn't, man, that emotional letdown, that emotional, like, miss, the punt, oh, crap. That wrecks people. Why? Because you believe in somebody, you believe in something, you believe in a goal. You're putting in your work. Do your job, okay, Bill? You know, it's crazy going down in Carolina right now. But your hopes begin to influence other people, and they pin their hopes to yours. You know, the effort and the introspective thought process that moves us is that, like, it's unrealistic to expect this instantaneous change. It's unrealistic to expect that, you're going to go out there and you're going to dominate a team. Why? Because it's a quick fix and makes me feel good, and it numbs the reality of the situation. So how how do you figure out what hope is good, right? Because like I said, we need good hope, but you don't need false hope. Anything that's kind of been proven, and you can look in your own life, and when you are emotionally hoping for something, and when you are mentally, wholly, metaphysically, spiritually hoping for something, and when you're hoping for something in regards to an actuality. That makes sense, right? Wishful thinking, that's kind of bad hope. I'm not saying you can't, like, oh man, I hope I hit the lottery, that's awesome. But if you consume yourself with hitting a lottery, then you're doing yourself a disservice, right? Hope should be based on, evidentiary things that have come along. It's not saying that there's not instances where, well, if that happened for them, it could happen for me. Of course it could. I mean, again, we're not crapping on hopes and dreams, but we're putting them into perspective. Porn perspective, shout out nofilter.net. That this belief that I have, this hope that I have, will it require effort and a change on my part? Or does it just promise some kind of result without any sort of action? And right there in our commentary, we know that you can't expect any sort of change without action. And you can, as I contradict myself, because when you fail to act, another power, another entity will act for you. It's just a matter of time and how quickly that pendulum swings on back. Well, how can you say that? Well, think about all the times in your life where you sit around and like, I didn't get this, I didn't get this, I didn't get this, I didn't do this, and it's like, well, wait a minute, why? Well, no, I wasn't the one getting up at 6 a.m. and going to the gym. No, I wasn't the one getting to work, 20 minutes early. No, I wasn't the one staying at work 15 minutes late. No, I wasn't the one who was following up on the emails. No, I was. Oh. But you expected to have the promotion? You hope to get the expectation? You hope to get the promotion? What are you thinking? Right, it requires change, requires effort, requires action. The greatest thing that we have with hope, and some people are more tuned into this, some people aren't, but we all have it, which is why it's important to have our priority practices and principles and disciplines and meditation a little bit. Maybe journal something, maybe clear your head, free your mind. Shout out to like En Vogue, I think that is back in the day. Is and I'm here, I give credit to all the lovely, ladies in my life, but listen to your intuition. And I'm sure if everyone stops for 5 minutes today and you go back in your life's experiences and you're honest with yourself, because there's times where I haven't been honest, I have a false hope, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with this crap. It's better to think like this. Pour me another one, blah, blah, blah. But listen to your intuition. A lot of the individuals in my life are tuned in to this intuition. I mean, my daughters and those close to me constantly are like, what? Huh? And I'm like, damn. Trying to fool myself to fool you for, yeah, I guess I didn't take out the trash. Or yeah, I got up and I did X, Y, and Z. Why? Listen to your intuition. It's there. Right? It's like this. It's this internal little symbol, trigger, whatever. It can signal, whoa, like this doesn't add up. It sounds great, but what do we love to say? Special shout out to Oregon, right? Looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And sometimes you have to take things for the face value and what it is. And can it be false hope sometimes? Yeah, like look out, man, don't go down that road. It's not what you're really looking for. Or is it something that says, yeah, affirmation, baby, affirmation? It's grounded, it's optimistic, there's a reality, there's a plan, there's an effort, there's expectations. It's aligning with my values, it's aligning with my feelings. I have a good sense of who this person, place, thing, organization, team is. I can get on board with this. I know it's not going to be handed to me, but I'm going to do my part. So, how then do we differentiate the both? Like, especially in sports, right? Because my team's going to win today. I don't care what you say. We're going to go ahead and win Game 4. We're going to come back to Philadelphia. We're going to win Game 5. Then we're going to go to the Championship Series. And then we're going to win the World Series. And everything's going to be great. I have all these parades. Well, like in sports, right, the false hope is like, my athlete, my team, we're going to succeed. But you have all of this evidence saying, no, not the case. This person's going to change their ways, right? I'm going to believe in the improvement of this person without any sort of realistic foundation. Why? Oh, they're going to get better. What have they done to get better? What have they done to get better? They sign up for class. They go to rehab, start a meditation process, start a diet, start an exercise routine, change the way that they've eaten, change the way they talk to you, change the way they perceive you, change when they want to communicate with you, when you get in DMs at 12:30, 1 o'clock, or are they calling you up during the day? They checking on how you're doing. What are you doing for them? What do you need, right? Like this false hope sometimes that we supply for other individuals in what we do and how we engage them sometimes. You know, people always sit there sometimes and you're sitting there thinking like, man, I can't wait for that person to call. I can't wait for that person to text me. And you just wait. And you're hanging on every little bit. You're not being active. You're not taking action. There's no motion whatsoever. Why? You're making misguided decisions, letting other people influence what you are doing based on their interaction or their reaction. Because hopefully it's gonna break my way one day. Oh, it's gonna be good. They're gonna come around. If people will come around and people will change on their own, but there is something to be said when it is you have to be the one to invite that change. You have to be the one to invite that hope. You have to be the one to invite that, like, hey, they're over here, they're taking care of themselves, they're holding stuff down, they're being the best version of themselves. Now, this comes back over. Now that person is going to think to themselves, well, maybe I should change some of the things that I'm doing. And here comes a great big caveat. Sometimes it's too little too late. Sometimes that realization comes around, and everybody's watched the Hallmark movies. They watch the Lifetime movies too, right? I mean, sometimes it happens, too little, too late. So it is about you taking control. It's about you being in charge. It's about you being the best version of yourself so that when reality is met with this idea of hope, and you're hopeful that you have this great relationship and you can find someone, or you can set out on your way and learn everything, or you can be the best at this and da 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 da. It's grounded. It's grounded in what it is that you are trying to achieve. And someone has to be on that same page with you. Let's talk about a few of these little, let's call them I don't call them aspects, because that's kind of redundant, but false hope, right? It's very outcome driven. You are looking for like the we're gonna win, everything's gonna be okay, they're gonna change, and it's open-ended. It's like you're throwing it out there into the wind. Okay? The reality, though, is like if we execute, if we improve our game, if we pay attention, if we work on this, then we'll see results. Having a false sense of hope, having a false sense of belief, it leads to so much frustration when things are unresolved or things aren't met. Right? There's the screaming, the yelling, the I tried, you tried, we tried, the ups, the downs, roller coaster. In your real world, you are building this resilience to the BS. Now I've seen that, man. I've seen that play. I've been down that road. No, put up or shut up. Walk the walk, talk the talk. Right? You begin to mature because you are putting your priorities and yourself first. And if you're going to do that, someone else should do that. And you're doing that together. Doesn't mean you can't help each other out. Doesn't mean you can't grow together. Doesn't mean you don't evolve. Because relationships, organizations, jobs, teams, it's never going to be 50-50. It's never going to be 50-50. Where on that scale of balancing do you fit in? What is your balance? What are you willing to? When it gets to that point where it's not, that's when that false hope starts to lead into all of this negative action and reaction or no action. False hope. Reactive. Impulsive. Based in the I'd say the negative component of our emotional well-being. It's the highest of highs and it's the lowest of lows. When we look at it in reality, in our mental game, it's strategic, it's grounded, facts and circumstances, previous behaviors. I'm looking at the playbook. I know what kind of game I'm getting when Josh Allen comes. I know what kind of game I'm getting when Jake Browning comes. I'd love for Jake Browning to go out there and throw 4 touchdowns, but guess what? My hope, and I don't, and I'm not throwing Jake under the bus right now because I know he's having a bad day and a hard time. It's just the fact that a 40-some-year-old dude is coming in and taking a starting job. But the reality is this individual is better suited right now for what this team's doing, and your past track record has shown me this. So I can have all the hope in the world. I can have all the change in the world. Right? Let's go along that lines like in athletics, right? False hope. Super overconfident people. Too much. Too crazy. There's confidence and then there's overconfidence. There's this resounding fear of failure. Failure's not a bad thing. Reality? Okay. I'm confident. I've prepared. I'm willing to, be mature if something happens and be resilient and take that next step. Why then does it matter? Why then does it matter? Why does it matter? It matters because long term, your mental health, it helps you cope with the highest of highs and lowest and lows. You understand good, plausible hope and the reality of your daily situation. This does mean that you don't think bigger, dream bigger, want to be bigger. You need that. That's the fuel. That's what's going to get you beyond whatever hurdle and stumbling block that you find yourself in, around, or with. But it does take action. It does take maturity. It does take an understanding of where that scale is that you balance your life. We all have stuff that we will put up with. We all have stuff that we will rationalize. We all have our comfort zone. When those particular balances are challenged, how we react to it is what makes us who we are. Some people are like, well, persevere, go through, it's okay, it is the way it is. Well, maybe for this particular thing, but not that. I can see ourselves through sickness and health and, emotional stuff and monetary stuff, but I can't get past this. Oh, okay. We look at it from the outside or as other individuals, especially more on the opposite side. Well, people tolerate that, tolerate that, tolerate that, tolerate that. Well, tolerate this too. No, that's a pushover. Now you've taken their kindness for granted. You've taken who they are for granted, which goes all the way back to the beginning of all of our conversations about the value, the love, the investment in yourself and what you're willing to tolerate in yourself, and then how that comes out and it's either projected on, lived with, experienced with other individuals. A lot of your happiness, a lot of your success is because you're putting yourself in a situation that you want it to be better. You want to be the reason for it to be better, or you want to succeed or overcome or empower or fix. And many times that won't be the case, and that's okay. And it's not a judgment on you, and it's not a judgment on the other individuals, because you're both at different places, teams at different parts. Organization isn't ready for that. They're not ready to grow. They don't see what you see, etc. Balance your reality with hope, with expectation, with dreams. Have an understanding of who you are, where you want to go, who you want to be with. If you don't want to be with anyone, if you want to work on things for yourself, and then take the steps and the necessary actions in order to achieve that. Sometimes it'll happen overnight. Sometimes it's going to take a quick minute. Eventually, though, if you're maturing and you have this recollection, you will come to yourself with a desired result and say, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. This is who I want to be with. This is where I want to live. And if it's not the case, then look at the experience and try again. Everybody, please have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Shout out to the Phillies and the Eagles. I guess the Flyers too. I will be back next week. I'll be traveling, but I'm going to try to get these shows into you, and we will have ourselves a great big conversation. Please enjoy everything in the fall weather, and I will talk to you then. Goodbye, guys.